Hello, welcome to the Joel Fleischman Happy Hour Podcast, episode number 82. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Oh, happy Hour is here. Central Waters, our sponsor. What do you guys got?
The Red Ale.
Oh, Red Ale. That's good. That's the way to summarize it.
Honey Blonde Ale.
Honey Blonde Ale, and I've got the Horse Medicine, some of the last cans in the world, I think. Drexel Light is coming in around Memorial Day, so.
Excited.
Yeah, I don't know how we're going to get them out to everybody. We don't have 750 six-packs, so I don't know how we're going to get them to everybody. But hopefully next year at this time it'll be in restaurants and grocery stores. So that's a real thing.
Cheers to that.
Today, everybody, we have got Matt Pomerenke and ringer Erik Ringheim.
Ringheim.
What is Ringheim? What is that, German?
German.
For what?
I have no idea.
I've never met a Ringheim. You're the first Ringheim I've ever met. A Ringheim. H is silent, Ringheim.
Yep.
If you're a German, Ringheim. Cool. And Matt, welcome.
Thank you.
These are off-site fellers, right? So we're going to talk a little bit about off-site construction today. They're actually the crews, guys on the crews in the field. Ringer, aka Erik, aka Ringer, just got out of training for a week.
Yep.
And Matt, actually 2 weeks. So we'll talk a little bit about that. So as always, we got Marcus here with us for 82.
82.
Famous 82s. I feel like there's a lot of famous 82s.
Yes and no. A lot of like the Shannon Sharps and like guys that are somewhat, I would say, probably most recognizable. Probably Don Beebe.
Yeah, Don Beebe. Anybody wearing a Don Beebe jersey to the Packer game, I'm probably going to give him a fist bump. If I see him coming at me at Lambeau,
right.
I see the Beebe 82, I do a fist bump. I have a Lynn Dickey 12, and I actually had Lynn Dickey sign it. He was at a golf outing, and I kept it in my bag, and I went and got it, and he signed it, which was funny. He's like, I haven't seen one of these in a really long time. I'm like, yeah, I bet. And that was a pretty funny conversation, but I don't normally wear it because people just assume I'm wearing a Rod jersey, right? And then it's a Dickey, but it's kind of fun.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, but that Beebe's pretty high up on a rando jersey list, I think. 2 years with the Packers? 1 year?
2 at least. Yep.
Really?
Yep. Super Bowl 2016.
Yeah. I always feel the Packers are always missing those key little sprinkled in veterans. They've gotten away from that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why that is. Why they don't do that anymore, or if free agents just don't want to come here anymore for the winter and for $1 million veteran minimum.
Yeah.
Other teams out there could be. Reggie might have been able to get everybody. I don't know. A little far beer.
Yeah.
All right. Well, welcome, guys.
Welcome.
All right. A little bit about you guys. So, how did you get started in the construction industry? We'll do that. Ringer?
And I got out of the Coast Guard in 2002. I did a year of over-the-road trucking and hated it. So I started with a concrete company. I did that for 14 years. And I decided I didn't want to do concrete anymore, so I went and framed with a buddy and been framing ever since.
And you've been here about a year.
Yes, a
Almost
little over a
13,
year.
A little over.
Yep.
Maybe 13. I mean, pretty close to it. Not much longer than a year.
Right.
And you live in?
Maribel, Wisconsin.
Which is near?
Which is about 20 miles south of Green Bay.
Green Bay. Okay. Awesome. And Matt?
So I was a farmer. My brother-in-law he hit me up about hours and how overtime works for farming, and like I was
Or
able to
doesn't
get
work.
or doesn't right. Well, that's just it. Is after 80 hours they would kick in some overtime, and he was like, well, 40 hours over by us is overtime, so he invited me to Blinker, and
That was when?
2005.
Way back.
Way back. I was 21 at the time.
Now, was Blinker Construction, and again, for everybody listening and watching, Blinker Construction is a company that we bought 3+ years ago that does offsite construction up in Amherst.
And technically it was Blinker Building Supply because Blinker Construction kept going.
Right, there you go. Thank you very much. Yeah. So 05, were they even in panelization in 05?
They were doing that ever since the 80s.
Hey, since the 80s, going way back. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, was Jason back home in 05? And did they have wall lines and all that?
Yeah, so in 05, the very beginning of 05 was when they opened the plant, and Jason was behind the entire plant. Peter was the dad.
Mm-hmm.
There was a small warehouse in Amherst that they were building out of. So Jason's the only reason that the entire plant and all the government grants got taken into play and actually turned into.
And moved out onto the highway
and turned
on the
into
rail
a big
cars and all that
facility.
stuff, right?
Yes.
That was his vision.
Yep.
Which is why we call Jason Cowboy, because he's always
Yep.
12 steps ahead of everybody. I'm not sure he's present at the meeting, Jason, if you're listening sometimes, because, I mean, that's why we call him Cowboy, right? Like, I don't know if he's here, but I know he's there.
over there.
Yeah, he
Sure.
is, right?
Yeah.
And I say that, to Jason with as a compliment, right? He is a true visionary. So I remember when we started the company, he's like, so you're the visionary and I'm the doer now. And I was like, huh? And he was like, yeah, if you're the visionary, we can't have more than multiple visionaries in the company. So you're the visionary, I know you are, and I'm the doer, I just have to change my ways. And I'm glad he did it, and he couldn't change if he wanted to. So that's great. That's good.
Yeah.
Cool. And what did you do there?
So when I first started, they challenged, like I had no experience in framing. They challenged me to work in the factory for a little bit. And Jason Blinker, he hired me. He's the one who kind of put me up to this. He was like, if you can make it in the plant for a little while, then I'll let you join a field crew, because that was my end goal.
Okay.
And 3 months into it, he basically, I think I started October, and December I was able to get out on the sites, and then I constructed the houses on site until late 2008, after the crash had kind of started taking place, and then I got invited back in the factory just because of my past experience in there.
Interesting. So you guys obviously are passionate about construction.
Absolutely.
Both have been in it a long time. So I guess if you're at a bar, right, and you're like, I do off-site construction. You maybe don't use those terms, but maybe you do. How do you explain off-site construction?
I explain it as a computer-designed building. Everything's made to length, everything's made to square, to size, and that's how we build it. Essentially it's a big puzzle.
And your role within the organization, again, we're having a beer, I don't know you from Adam, I'm sitting next to you, Pat, again. What do you do at Drexel?
Me, I am in charge of the off-site crews.
Which is how many?
Currently, we have 4 full stocked rear-to-go setting crews.
Which is how many people? Again, for those that don't know.
20 people,
So it's
5
per crew?
men per crew.
And where do they all? What's the coverages look like? Just so people understand. Like we have 20 in-house guys. Like it's probably of the 700 plus people that work at Drexel. Cool or not cool, right? You can take this as an insult or a compliment, right? You're like you have to consider yourself the forgotten stepchild, or like the coolest thing that like people don't actually know about, right? Like I think that's the way I would take it, but you take it either way you want, right? You're like, no, we're like the Navy SEALs, right? Like we're the field crews that get this shit done. We're a huge important part, but we're not getting highlighted every day, right?
Right. No, we build, one based out of Wrightstown, 2 based out of Amherst, and 1 based out of Madison currently.
Right, so that's covering a good portion of the state, really.
Yeah, quite a bit of
Definitely.
Right, and you guys are traveling, but not overnight stay.
Every once in a while.
Ringers like me.
Ringers
I got a
moving
hotel
into
for
a
the next
job.
4 weeks.
Yeah,
Oh, you
he's
do?
moving in.
Up
Just
for
'cause-
Sister Bay.
Oh, you're doing a Sister Bay job?
Yep.
So you're in Door County?
Yes. Northern Door County.
Oh, Northern Door County. So you're vacationing, essentially.
Exactly. For 4 days a week, I'll be vacationing in Northern Door County.
I'm not sure how your wives all spin that. Are you all married, the whole crew?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so how'd that go over?
Yeah, it's acceptable. We're only out of town 3 nights a week,
Okay,
so we're home for the other 4.
right, so, whatever, make it work.
Right.
And what are you doing up in Sister Bay?
A big duplex,
Cool.
or as they call it up there, condos.
Yep, it's always condos, because you can't get as much money for a duplex.
That's right.
You gotta have a condo, that's for sure, That's awesome. Well, thank you for doing that. We appreciate the
You bet.
sacrifice you guys make. That's pretty cool. How would you explain offsite?
I tend to tell people it's a smarter way of framing. It's easier on your body. It's faster, way more efficient.
What do you think the biggest speed component? What do you think the biggest savings is on speed? And speed is money, right? So it's kind of the same, right? What do you think the biggest savings is, or what do you think the biggest time savings is?
Time savings is floors, by far.
So explain to me, right? I think everyone can. I've been doing this lately. Everyone can close their eyes, at least in our company. I think even Marcus can, being a one-day IT former recruiter for college basketball, right? We can close our eyes and envision our 3-bedroom ranch home, right? That 1,700 square foot spec that you've all built 800 times, right? That everybody lives in, really. How long does it take to do a floor?
Oh, we can set probably 3 beams or 4 beams that we'll do in about a half an hour. And instead of individual floor joists and decking and all that, it'll come out as about 12 pre-assembled decks that you put together in about an hour and a half.
And if it was floor trusses, you can eliminate that half an hour.
Right.
So you're down to an hour probably.
Yep.
Is that right?
Correct.
Floor's down. You can golf on it.
Yep.
Have a dance.
Which before that was a full day.
Yeah, full day. Yeah, full day. If it went well. If it went well. If you didn't have to cut the eye joist, or they didn't send you all 48s, you need 24 or 23 9s, right? Matt, what do you think?
I agree 100%.
So take your second. What's your second biggest savings? We'll just keep playing that game.
Walls.
You think so? The walls?
Definitely.
I think the steps are cooler than hell.
Oh, the stairs are cool.
You know, to me, a stair system is your best framer for a day. Right? Maybe I'm exaggerating a day, but a half a day, right?
At least a half a day.
At least a half a day. Like, hey, you're our best framer. Disappear, make me the set of steps. Right? They now come. Now I'll explain how it works. Go ahead, Ringer.
A lot of the houses that I've been doing have a landing. So you set the landing in place, take it off the truck with the crane, set the landing in place, take the bottom stairs off the truck, set them in place, nail them off, take the top steps, take them off the truck, put them in place, nail them off. Your steps are done.
And that takes how long?
That's probably maybe a half hour.
Right, and so you understand, if there's the people are like, well, the concrete's not poured. You bring everything up, you hold it all up, and they pour the concrete to it, which is actually easier for the concrete guys when they get used to it.
Yep.
Which is really cool. I think that's cool. Also, what's cool is safety. All the trades are now using those steps.
Right.
Right? Homeowners are now using them steps. It's not this open crawl space for weeks sometimes months, because they never get to the stairs. I mean, I've been on sites like that. You know, it's almost like the drywall's in and we still don't have stairs. I've seen that. Those kind of things. So that sounds pretty cool. Marcus, being a non-construction geeky guy, what questions do you have for these guys?
Yeah.
I'm like maybe too close, you know, like
Yeah.
I know what I know. I can speak the language at least. I'm not out there with a crane with these guys.
Yeah, and I was only out on a site in, I think it was the Brookfield area, the one day some of us from downtown went over there, but you guys as a team, right, you're in the field. How do you guys work as a team? Does everybody have their own roles and responsibilities? Obviously you're working together to get this going, but once you start getting things set, is there anything that's separated, like you're always doing this on every set? Or is everybody kind of helping out with every little task that's in there? Or how does that work that way?
So I really like to split my guys up into teams of 2. And a lot of the times they will be doing the same thing on every house. But I'll have 2 guys putting these walls up and 2 guys coming behind them for the next step. So I can kind of run between both and help whoever needs help.
It's crazy efficient.
Yeah.
You know, when you get it going, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So what is one of the biggest, it can be design, it could be quality, it could be weather related. What's one of the biggest things that cost, go the opposite way? What are your pain points? Like when you're on site, when do your guys go, oh shit?
Mainly weather.
Yeah, that really,
But
taking out of God's hands the weather, which that's just Wisconsin, which is going to be fun in Sturgeon Bay in late May and early June. I can tell you that. That is not going to be a blessing. That's not this, what people in Chicago think Door County is, right? This is late May, Sturgeon Bay. That shit's going to be blowing.
absolutely.
Yeah. Pack some underwear. What do you think?
I definitely. What was the question?
Like, what drives you nuts? Like, what?
The worst.
What's
pain
a pain point? Yeah.
Right.
What's like a?
So,
again, like I said, you show up at the site and everybody's like, ah, shit. And it could be
Definitely.
design, could be quality, could be
definitely
site conditions.
anything that doesn't fit together when the crane's in the air is the biggest oh shit moment we have. I mean, the crane costs a lot of money. per hour. Every minute that
And what
that
does the
it's
crane
not
cost per
swinging.
hour?
On average, 180 to 200. I mean,
Okay.
so anytime that thing, that we have to stop and think about something and rework it is the biggest pain point.
And that
we-
norm, why don't they? Like we said, like we build it on the computer, we build it in the shop. Why doesn't it fit? Because in theory, that can't be, right?
There's still a human involved.
Right.
with
But
it.
what does it typically come down to? It's somebody envisions something in their brain, but it doesn't actually work on site, or is it actually like a tick on the computer?
Well, sometimes it's
widget's broken?
miscommunication between like a wall designer and a floor designer. Like I've had walls that were designed at 9 foot tall, but really it was, and sections that come through at 8 foot tall turns into 9 foot tall, turns back to 8 foot tall, and the trusses are all designed for 8 foot tall. That's a huge oh shit, what is going on here?
Because we do have a roof truss team of designers and then a floor team, correct?
Right.
Correct.
Or a offsite
Panels.
team, panel
Yeah.
team, yeah, what do you want to call it, right? It's
Exactly.
all really good, but again, if they're not in perfect sync, and the assumption, right, make an ass out of you and me, I think assumptions maybe in offsite may be the biggest concern.
Yeah.
I assumed you were catching it, I assumed you were framing it down, I assumed we were building a screen porch.
When details are missing, definitely, when we run into certain wall configurations, because it gets kind of extravagant when we get into tall, ugly walls that they actually have pieces that fit into other walls in order to create the window openings and the openings that sometimes there's a moment there that's difficult and it takes a little time to work through it.
What's your favorite homes to do, right? I mean, I've met all kinds of builders in my 30 years. Some dudes love 7,000 square foot houses and they're on it all summer. The next guy's like, if I'm on a site longer than 3 days, my skin's crawling. And some guys are in the middle. I'm curious where you guys lie in that, and where our 20 guys lie in that.
I'm the huge homes guy.
Yeah. You want to start getting your brain working?
Oh yeah, it's almost boring to build a 1,600 square foot ranch where you can get into the big mansions and there's bonus rooms and there's
Yeah.
stuff all over the
Spiral
place.
staircases and circle
Love that
arches and-
stuff.
Okay, cool. See how you can see how he lights up. Like, that's how God made him. Now there's a guy named Sam Mast in Madison, Amish guy. So Sam, I'm not sure if he's listening or not.
I kind of doubt it.
That's fair. Kind of doubt it. I haven't seen any radios on his site, but kind of doubt it. But I've met Sam. He geeks out with the efficiency level of a little one.
Mm-hmm.
Like how your brain works on a big one. His is like, if we can tweak 15 minutes here, half an hour. Like I can't be here more than 2 days. Like we gotta get this done tonight yet, right? I mean that's Sam. So
Yeah.
interesting. How does your brain work? Which ones do you kind of geek out with more?
I'm on with Ringer, but I still can side with Sam. I mean, it's 100%. The immaculate houses take a way longer as far as stick framing or all that thought going into it versus our assembly. So it's amazing to watch a big giant, just difficult house come together as fast as it does. Just as much as getting on a ranch and knocking it out in 3 days.
You know what's interesting? I've been talking to builders as well as our sales force and as well as the Amherst team, our offsite team, about what's the perfect customers we're looking for. Right? Because I think what we did 3 years ago when we launched this, we did it wrong. Went to the expo, built a house, says this is for everybody. 5 years is going to be 50% of the market share. We're taking over the world with this thing. That may still happen, but we did that quick. Like, hey, everybody buy a ticket to the dance, right? Everybody come to this concert. But a lot of times when you start a new genre of music or you're the next Zach Bryan, you need super fans, right? I need guys coming in my tent and just going nuts. Probably girls if I'm a rock star, but right. I need that same group of girls, and they're probably good looking. They probably like to party, but they come to every one of my concerts, right? And I'm starting in a little tent in Maryville for their fireman's picnic, and then they're coming to Green Bay, and right, and they're coming to Amherst, and they're coming to Hodag, but they're always there, that group of girls, right? And they're buying all my T-shirts, and they're buying all the Dayton Half the Band and whatever, right? But I need super fans, and I think every movement needs super fans. Needs people that are like, I'm all in whatever you guys are doing, and I think we went after it a little wrong. And part of the problem is if you don't recognize your super fans, not that you don't treat every customer the same, but you're not getting good feedback, you're not growing, because you're kind of ignoring your super fans. They want to help you, right? Those super fans are like, you guys got to play this song next set, man. The band was nuts. Like, the crowd loved that, right? Or you got to come out with this, or you got to partner with this brand or whatever, right? This guy's got to open up for you. It's so cool. And they're selling it for you, right? Hard. And I don't think we did that really well. I can't say this is a relaunch, but Joel's obviously actively involved for the last 8-9 weeks now about going and talking to builders about offsite. What I learned is we do have super fans, but we weren't really listening to them and we weren't really partnering with them. Right? Give you a bid. What do you think? Hey, we should do it this way and that way. Yeah. Well, let's empower them and make them. You can call that market leaders. You can call them the, leaders in that community, or that in Sheboygan and Manitowoc and Green Bay and Madison and Milwaukee. If we get that going in every town, right? Sheboygan and in Fond du Lac, where it's like, what's that crane? Who's that crew? That 7,000 square foot house should be going up for 2 more months and they're done already. That crane was only there for 2 weeks. They're swinging trusses. Windows are in the walls. Like, what's going on? Like, that's crazy, right? And then they get a hold of that builder who's a super fan. And they're like, yeah, dude, that's so cool. It's like I saved 2 dumpsters, saved 3 weeks. Ringer and his guys are just phenomenal. Like, I love it. You do? Yeah, every house, never again. Like, come see my lake home. I'm having a party out there when it's done. Homeowners geeked up. Right, so I think we, coming back out of this, if you will, not out of it, but as we keep growing, is understanding the super fans of this emerging trend and really, really diving in deep with them. Even for you guys on crews, right? To being like, hey, I know you're into this. We're going to change it. I'm going to get this done at the plan. So a cool thing, and I think it's super cool when it works. So Matt or Ringer, talk me through, like, because it does work. I've seen it work when it does, right? If that builder has the idea, we can just simply go to the designer, go to Dan Griffiths, and we can get that done, right? Is that true?
100%.
Right, so I mean, that's kind of a cool thing, because how do you do it with a stick-built guy, right? Besides, what do you call that, tribal knowledge, right? Like, well, you just know, Grandpa taught you, and you've been framing for these guys for 20 years, and, I'll get feedback to the plant, and, things just kind of happen. So I think that's kind of cool.
Like anything in life, obviously change is tough. I mean, do you see from the builder standpoint where there's some out there that are just even afraid to even give it a chance? Or is it more so like, where they're kind of sitting at with that?
Well, psychologically, right? So I wish I would have thought about this psychologically years ago. I'm kind of a psychological. I read a lot of books, obviously. We all know that. Or if you listen to my pod, you know that. And then I'm a really mental, psychological sales guy. If you think of it mentally, so you guys work with builders. I'll ask Ringer. What do you think either one of you can answer this. What do you think builders are most afraid of? What's their biggest fear at night when they lay their head on the pillow when it comes to work?
Framers walking off, probably.
Right, well then, let's add on to that, right? So not just framing, the whole construction, which is close to that, what is their really biggest fear?
Not hitting deadlines.
Which means what? Well, who are they disappointing?
Their clients.
I think their biggest fear, which is walking off deadlines, it all leads back to, I think they have a lot of pride. I think it's, in Wisconsin especially, our builders have a ton of pride. They like quality, they like craftsmanship, they've told their homeowners a good story, and they believe in it. And their biggest fear when they lay their pillow at night, I'm going to disappoint my homeowner. I'm going to let them down. So I'm going to stick my neck out. I'm going to talk to Pam and George. I'm going to tell them we're doing off-site. I believe in it. I think this is the way of the future. I think it's efficient. I think it's great. It's quick. I talk about the floor panels and the steps. But their biggest fear is, but the reality is on a Tuesday, Ringer and his crew's going to have pry bars and chainsaws out there. Window's going to be in the wrong spot. Window's going to be missing. Right? Punch list was never done. I'm 4 weeks later. I'm still staring at the same wall. I'm actually past the deadline of stick built. Homeowners laughing at me, right? And they also have a lot of pride. And they know other builders are watching. Right? They know other builders are watching when you try that big crane comes out, and they're kind of excited. They're kind of a little bit bragging, humble brag, right? So I think they're fearful of like, and if this goes wrong, oh shit, that's going to be really bad. They're not wrong. And they're paying more. Right? So they're upgrading and they're worried they're going to get a less quality product. And that's real. And if you want to disappoint a homeowner, remodel, I call it, for us, it's not a big deal. Matt's going, hey, we'll take 2 studs out tomorrow. Ringer's guys will replace those 4 studs. We'll put 4 studs in. To the homeowner, you're remodeling my new home. Why are there guys remodeling my new home? Why is that being compromised? No, they're taking that window out. They're going to put it back in the right spot. They're remodeling my new home. That's embarrassing. That's fearful. And that's doing everything that I didn't want to happen. Stick built is craftsmanship. I do think we have to appreciate the craftsmanship. Some builders love to be framers. That's super okay. They love the tool belt in their hand. They love the hammer, right? They love the hammer in their hand. They want to build that house. And the best part for them waking up is being a framer. And I think we discounted that fact too. Like, dude, I like building homes, right? Or they're like, I really like building a home and bringing the homeowner out there. And if they want to move a wall 2 feet because they didn't think the living room was going to be so big, I can totally do that tomorrow. No big deal. That's what I do. I think we a little bit discounted that process as well. And I think we need to move on quick then. Congratulate them. Tell them they're a great customer, right? You kind of like rock music, and this is Zach Bryan tonight. Maybe I don't want to sell you a concert ticket. You might be really disappointed if you're coming over a heavy metal band and Zach Bryan starts chiming some country shit. So I think that's it, Marcus, is they're just fearful, right? And
like life, right? Change. Any change you do, whether you're paying a little more or paying a little less, you're changing from what you're comfortable with, right?
And not only comfortable if it's working.
Sure.
And I like it. I like going to this restaurant. I'm comfortable with it. I like the food there. Why do you keep telling me I should go across the street? It might be better, but it's not bad here. And then there are plenty of builders that love to negotiate with framers. They'll tell you they don't, but they're working them hard. You've been through that in life, Ringer, man.
Absolutely.
Not so much, but you have been. They enjoy that game. They sold the house for $750. Now what can they make on the backside? And framers, for whatever reason, that industry, they're quick to discount. I don't know if they're afraid of the next job or if they like playing that game too, right? Like, well, 13.5 sounds good to me. The next job's going to be 18, So they play the game. Some guys like to play it. This is more of a standardized process. So
sure.
I think what I've seen in the last week, them are a lot of the big fears. So the kind of builder you're looking for is one that kind of wants to be an industry leader. Doesn't want to hassle with returns and invoice by invoice lumber, deal with back charges, negotiate with framers, beg them to come back, argue with them. Some like that game. Or they are a builder that does like to do their own work, but just has, for health reasons, right? You talk about back in sport, or just ran out of time. I just don't have enough time in life. You guys can totally frame this. I'm totally comfortable with that. Or likes the efficiencies of it, right? Because not every builder does, but some really understand, like, hey, if we can get 4 studs less, and it's the same quality, why wouldn't we?
Yeah.
So some people are just looking for that difference. Homes are being overbuilt right now by a big degree. There's too much lumber around. We take that out. That's okay. Some guys want to do that. Some guys are like, I'm good. It's a nice solid house that way. Not wrong.
Matt Ringer, I know we've talked about this off air previously. What's each year's most favorite set? I mean, I know some of the locations you're in, whether it's by lakes or some of the driveway issues you've had to get stuff to where you need to get it to be. What is kind of your most unique set you've been on?
This guy sent me the most beautiful picture of Lake Michigan when the ice was breaking up. I was jealous as hell.
Oh yeah, sunrise in Algoma.
Sunrise, yeah.
We were right on Lake Michigan. It was February. Lake was frozen. Just an absolute gorgeous sunrise in the morning, with 3 Drexel trucks sitting there in a crane.
Remember the builder?
Olaire Builders.
Olaire. Yep. Hi, Nicole. Hi, Andy. Great couple. Nice folks.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I'm sure they're on site once in a while, smiles and
Yep.
whatever. Again, that we're talking about key great customers.
Mm-hmm.
They lead with that. They talk about offsite, how it changes their company. They like to get to know the crews. Them the kind of builders we look for on offsite. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's cool. How about one of your favorite sets?
Oh.
You always remember the bad ones, not the good ones, right?
What was really fun was we did one in Sturgeon Bay. Really tight lot. When it came time for roof trusses, I had nowhere to put them, so I put the crane in front of the house and dropped the roof trusses in front of the crane. and partway into the road.
Oh, yeah, there you go. That's tight. I like that. That's a good challenge. Mine was probably Tom and Sally Cole, a friend of mine, dear friends of mine that we vacation with, and they live over in Brownsville by Elmira. And they built right on top of a hill. And it was Kevin Berger, their first cousin, be Sally's first cousin. He's probably 60, and very, very skilled craftsman. And he does it all, from interior work to decks to new construction, but is always framed, and he was wildly impressed, could not believe it, just absolutely geeked out every day we did it. That was the coolest one for me so far, for sure.
It is really fun when you get put in a subdivision with 2 or 3 other crews stick framing, and on day 3 or 4 you surpass what they're doing. They don't even have roof trusses set. You have all your windows and doors in.
Do you feel like a rock star?
And you're leaving. You feel awesome.
Have anybody ever? Do they ever walk over to watch or observe, or I mean, you catch that once in a while?
We did a house in Pewaukee. The framers actually left when we were there for day 3. We had the first floor walls up. We were setting the roof, and they literally decked and just picked up their tools and left.
Like, just embarrassed? Like,
Yep.
not coming back until you guys
Absolutely.
Are done? Really? You felt that?
So then the homeowners were happy, the builder was happy at us, but the homeowners from 2 other houses in there were the same builder. They were very angry.
I love it, though. We love it, though, right? Tell the builder, like, why are you doing it that way?
Right.
Yeah, no, I mean, the homeowner wants this. I think homeowners appreciate this faster. Only I think homeowners don't realize. I've had some homeowners give me bad feedback because they have different expectations.
Mm-hmm.
They see this house go up like that, and then it's back to traditional. So now the subs come in, and now the wiring gets pulled, and now the drywall goes on, and that's really frustrating to them. Because like, you told me offsite was going to be so fast. I'm like, it was. That's our portion. The rest isn't on me. Like, I don't know why the stone guy's not coming. But they're like, well, they only sped us up like 2 weeks. I'm like, yeah, this isn't like some magic sauce here, but it's a fun process when it goes good, for sure. Cool. What else we got to talk about? Let's do some shout outs. Who do you like working with the best here? Just for fun. We are not picking on people that you don't love to work with. I want to spotlight. Let's put the spotlight on some MVPs. Designers, quarterbacks, field guys, right? Because offsite takes a lot of touches. From Savannah and scheduling on roofs. I'm going to get this wrong. Savannah schedules offsite too?
Oh, yep.
Yep, so
Yes.
from Savannah to the field supervisors, to the Amherst team, to quarterbacks. I don't even spotlight a builder if you think they're phenomenal. And Marcus or I would take any compliments too. Don't forget about it. It's lonely at the top, Marcus. It's awfully lonely at the top.
And it's everybody. I mean,
No. You got to do a spotlight. You got to.
None of it works without all of us.
It is really true. One somebody drops the ball, we're dead.
Yeah.
But you got to give me some spotlights. I know you got them in the brain. I know you're just not saying them.
Well,
It's like picking your favorite kid. I get it, but you got to say it.
Tim O'Brien keeps us the busiest we could ever be. Like, I'll spotlight them all day, every day.
Right. Tim O'Brien, Madison.
They are 100% offsite. I think they might stick frame in Milwaukee once in a while.
They do in Milwaukee almost primarily. Yeah,
That,
correct.
like they 100%.
And Danny Lowry, shout out to them and Tim O'Brien. And they want to get better.
Yeah.
And they'll take meetings. Project managers are on it. Schedule stays pretty tight, right?
Yeah.
So that's good. That's a good one.
Heartland Homes, around my
Yeah,
area,
Matt.
up around there.
Yep, real good guys.
Gene Hill
Like them guys a lot.
Construction. Jeff
Yep.
with Gene Hill
Yeah.
Construction. Even Kraus, Kraus is
Shout out to
amazing.
Pete, Mark. Yeah,
Oh,
right.
Yeah.
And Sticklers.
Sticklers, but-
Pete, I'll tell you that over a beer. You know
Oh,
that.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's not a bad thing.
No.
Okay, how about you?
Well, I got to start off with my crew.
There you go. Well, go ahead and name them in case they're listening.
Chad, Mac, Chris, Travis.
Don't forget one. You're going to
No,
pay for it first. No.
didn't. Northern Crane. Dustin from Northern Crane is my main crane guy up in Door
Yeah, we
County.
don't even talk about
Love
the other
working with
guys
him.
that have to make it happen that aren't on part of our
Yep.
honor team.
all the delivery drivers. All the delivery drivers that are so happy to come to our sites, get out and help us, whatever they can do.
Well, that's cool.
It's really cool.
Yeah, I think our company has always led with the ops team as a cultural piece, and they got to keep pushing all the other departments to act like the ops, because they got it. They figured it out. They rock.
Well, when you see a truck driver get out of the truck, put his hard hat on, and grab a tagline, because we need a hand because it's windy, or whatever they got to do,
Yeah,
they all just do it.
yeah, but they geek out. They like offsite, don't they?
Oh yeah, they love coming to our
And I think our
sites.
company loves offsite. You know, I think there's obviously a general buzz. Like I said, we talked about it before, right? The 20 guys, they can either forget about nobody knows, talks about us or sees us, but what they don't know is we are. You guys are like the astronauts. Like, you are cool as shit. Just because we're not there every day doesn't mean we aren't thinking about you and geek to see you. So I hope we get to a lot of tailgate tours when you guys are working today. Matt, explain a little bit. Right, we have 20 guys, but we have a lot of crews that work with us. I talked about Sam Mass that aren't Blue Crew. Any difference in them?
As far as, I guess, some of them probably do maybe fast work that's not the safest. I mean, some of them do the most amazing work ever.
Right. I'll help you out a little bit, right? So to me, all of our in-house guys can't do all the jobs.
Right.
So we train and certify all of our subcontractor crews to be Drexel. Right? I don't want to ever hear, we don't ever want to hear, we do it this way. It's really the Drexel way, which is really that builder's way. Right? They can't come in and say, hey, no, I'm Ringer Construction and whatever, I was hired to do this job, I do it my way. Under our schedule, our terms, our laws, if you will, in a good way, in a partnership way. Right,
and we couldn't do it without them. I mean, there's no way our crews could suffice everything that goes out the door.
Right, well, that's kind of interesting. So, Matt, you probably know the schedule better than anybody in the room. So how many jobs do we do, how many new construction jobs do we have under construction right now?
Currently, we're a little slim, but there's at least probably 5 going on.
Right, but in peak season, we do how many?
Just in-house?
No, everywhere.
Okay,
at
everywhere.
One point?
I mean, you're looking at 5 a week versus 5 just open. I mean,
Right, so 5 a week might be, we actually have 15 under construction.
Right.
Somewhere around there based on bigger, smaller jobs. I'd say 15 to 20 sometimes we have under construction. And of course we do really large commercial jobs too that take months and months to do. So our in-house guys don't do that though.
No.
Right, but I didn't know that about you, Ringer. I didn't know you like big shacks. So I assume Savannah knows that to get you on big shacks when they come on?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, good. Well, then the layer ones, they're unique.
They can get big and complicated.
Yeah, for sure. That's great. Those roof lines are no lie. All right, we were at that point. Got the 40-minute marker. So you guys got one big giant billboard. Right, you can put anything you want on it. What's on it and why? I asked that to all 82 so far anyway.
Even if you're on the right track, don't stand there. You're going to get ran over.
So what does that mean?
That means you got to always continuously improve. Look for the next best. Make yourself better all the time.
Don't be
Make
comfortable.
everything around you
Is that how you live your life?
Hell yes.
And personally as well.
Yeah.
So you're always trying not to get too comfortable.
Yeah.
Give me an example of something you've done in your personal life in the last 12 months that I could believe you.
Uh,
I don't know if believe is the right term. As an example.
Switching out the junk truck. I mean, something that you're constantly working on is draining time. Replace it with something better, newer.
Just so it's got to go.
Yeah.
Don't get too attached to anything.
That's just one example.
Just keep getting moving. That's good. No, it's great.
I'll give him a shout out too.
Yeah.
All the people who work here, positive, everything. Most consistent guy day in, day out. Always got a smile on his face, just super, super impressive. So just want
Yeah,
to give
you
a
know
shout
tone
out.
of his voice.
Yeah,
It could
it's always the same.
Everything,
100 times.
Everything could always be worse. No matter how bad it is, it could always be worse.
Right. I am not that way.
Well, I'm not either.
Neither am I.
I was screaming bloody hell. We had quarterback training today, and I was giving it to him. It was a Vince Lombardi locker room speech. It was fun. I grabbed Jesse Keel yesterday.
I want to hear it.
I grabbed Jesse Keel yesterday right by his collar as an example, and yeah, we were throwing him against the wall. It was good. It was powerful. It was great.
Good things come to those who work.
That's good. That's a different one. So explain.
You're never going to get anywhere in life just sitting back waiting for someone to hand it to you.
I agree. Get shit done, right?
Absolutely.
I do think that's ultimately how you can put anybody's life together, right? And they work for it. That's it.
Yep.
Right? I mean, I can't think of somebody that didn't, whatever their goal was, whatever their trajectory was, whatever talent God gave them, the backbone of it was they still had to outwork people. Right? If you follow your passion, you still got to put the work in. You can't just say, well, that's what I do. No one's going to hand you shit. Is that fair?
Absolutely.
All right. Guys, thanks for coming on. Appreciate your time. That was a fast one. That went super quick. I think I say that every week. Thanks for coming on. Love you guys.
I agree.
Have a
Thank
great
you.
summer. Let's get on
Thank
site. Let's
you.
bust some ass. Have fun in Sturgeon Bay. Watch out for those Illinois bastards. 82. We're out.